Hello and welcome to r/AskReddit by Reddit Reader. Today's question is, people sentenced in the 80s 2000s, what modern world change shocked you the most? I remember helping a guy who went in 2005, got released 2014, had a black and green AudioVox phone in his effects and asked where he could activate it. I had to explain that it wouldn't be happening lol like 3 months later. Why no? I like the iPhone but I'm gonna wait for the release of the newest one adapted pretty quick. No matter what year you go in, when you come out and stand on carpet for the first time is the most disturbing feeling. Oh whoa, I felt this one. And darkness. Being able to be in 100% darkness again freaked me TF out for a while. Darkness. Complete silence. Showering without sandals. Couches, chairs with cushions. And a bed that's actually long enough for me. Those were such odd yet amazing feelings to experience again. I kept leaving sinks running after I got out. They don't turn themselves off every 5 seconds in the real world. I knew a guy who was in prison from about 1999 or 2000 for about 12-13 years. When he got out he did a few odd jobs for my family. My mum was friends with his parents and was helping him earn money for stuff like mowing the lawn and cleaning etc. While he was over we found that he had no idea how to use Google, how to find a phone number in his phone contacts, and barely knew how to send a text message. We helped him out with a few of those skills, but lost touch a while later. I'm not sure where he is these days. A co-worker a few years ago had spent 10 years in jail. He got out right when Bluetooth headsets for phones were huge. He'd talk about all the random conversations he thought people were trying to have with him. And smartphones freaked him the hell out. Well, tell him it's okay. I was confused a few times by those two. Once I thought a woman had a mental problem because she was talking to herself. Then she turned and I saw the earpiece. I remember getting the bus years ago and this old bloke got on heading away from town center towards the more residential areas. Without a second thought he sparked up a cigar. One of the passengers told him you can't smoke on a bus. He apologized and quickly stubbed it out but said he got discharged from prison that day. And when he went in you could smoke anywhere you wanted, so this was a massive culture shock to him. My uncle went away when fanny packs were in, and when he got out in the mid-2000s we had to break the news to him. You can tell him they are back. I see them everywhere now. Knew a guy who was blown away by digital cameras. He had purchased an old, terrible one and couldn't get over how amazing it was. Cameras truly have come a long way, and hear people on Instagram trying to find 15-30 years old cameras for aesthetic. Got a call from a woman filing a claim on some abandoned funds. I got all her information and then asked for an email address and she said, "What's email? I keep hearing about it. But you gotta understand I've been in prison a long time. I'm honestly surprised there aren't mandatory classes in prison that help keep people up to date on current events and technologies. It would go a long way to help ex-cons function normally in society once they get out. And isn't that the whole goal of the prison system?" My friend's older brother was jailed in 1994 and served 15 years. He said when he went in, anyone with an in-car phone was super rich. and to then see absolutely everyone have a completely cordless, pocket-sized phone was amazing. He also said that all the TV adverts had websites to visit, or were for completely online stores, which were a bit of an alien concept, as he'd never really seen or used the internet. He also found the chip and pin process of paying for things on a bank card extremely exciting. Edit. I'm unfortunately not in touch with the friend anymore after an incident with the haddock and the umbrella, so I can't get any further answers to your questions about his brother. Last I heard was around 2012, and he seemed to be doing okay, and had a job and a place to live. Edit again. Okay. The haddock umbrella story. When Danny and I were about 12-13, we used to play stupid pranks on each other. Glitter down the back, tipping yacht into a coat hood on a rainy day, that sort of stuff. Over the space of about a year, the pranks got more and more harsh. I played a good one with a bag of flour. That was very funny, especially when he said he was finding flour in his ears and nose with every shower for about a week afterwards. To get his revenge, Danny got hold of a haddock and decided to hide it in my house. Now, up until this point, our parents had not been involved much, but this one was different. He hid this haddock under the shoe rack in my house. After a day or so, the smell was awful and my family and I searched for this fish. We found it pretty easily, and got rid of it. We then aired the house fully, and used air fresheners etc. My parents were pretty annoyed with me, and said the pranks had gone too far as the house stank of fish. For a few days after, we aired the house constantly, but the fish smell wouldn't go away. We couldn't understand why, since we'd got rid of the offending item. After 4 days of living with this hideous stench, we then found a second haddock, hidden in a closed-up umbrella. This one had gone rotten and had ruined the umbrella too. Danny had said he hid two, one in a somewhat easy place to find, and one in a difficult place, so that when we found the first one, we'd stop looking. My parents went nuts at me, and the house smelled awful for about 2 weeks after. I was grounded for 2 weeks, and unfortunately took out my frustrations on Danny, and had a massive go at him about how he stepped over a line, and I was in trouble and it was his fault etc. We didn't really speak again. Shame really, as he was a good kid, and his idea, in hindsight, was genius. I would have done it without hesitating, if I'd had the idea. I overreacted and we stopped being friends. Haven't seen him since I left high school. Not me, but my father. I remember him trying to flip a CD upside down and put it back into the CD player like you would do with a record because it was skipping. Didn't notice how much of a big deal that must have been to him at the time. Adjusting to life on the outside can be really tough. Not me personally, but we had an older guy rent out a room in our house a few years back. Usually we rented it out to students, but someone let us know that he had just moved to our city and needed something temporary until he found permanent accommodation. It was a bit frustrating because this guy would not use the internet to search for a car or place to live. Didn't know how it worked and didn't trust it. We tried to help him learn how because we thought he was just old and stubbornly resisted technology, but no. Turns out that he had spent 11.5 years in maximum security prison after being framed by WA police for murder in the mid-90s. Came out with trust issues and a dislike for the new internet. Edit. Western Australian, not Washington police. And here's his Wikipedia page for those interested in his case. I asked a friend what the hardest thing was for him readjusting to being free again. This is a roundabout of what he said. Closing doors. I'd leave the fridge open every time without fail for months. You're not allowed to open or shut anything for yourself, and I'd accidentally let the pets outside by forgetting I needed to close the front door someone else had opened in front of me. You forget the last one in Rule Act and have to learn it all again. What was the thing you found you liked the most? Candy Crush. Gets phone back out and starts playing. 5 minutes later exclaim they've leveled up excitedly. So sweet. Anthony Ray Hinton described people walking around looking at down these things in their hands, phones, and amazingly not bumping into each other. OW. On the day you were released, your best friend, Lester, who had visited you every single week for nearly 30 years, picked you up. You'd been behind bars since 1985. So you got in his car. And what was the first thing you wanted to do? RH. Lester thought I'd want to get something decent to eat. But I wanted to go where they laid my mother's body. I see him messing with the radio dial. Then we start driving down the road. I heard this little white lady say, in 1/10 of a mile, turn right. I jumped and said, what the hell OW? You thought there was a white lady in the car? RH. Yes. And Lester's laughing so hard he has to pull over. He says, that's a GPS. When he explained what it does, it really hit me how long I'd been locked up. The world had changed. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Reddit content.